Hola guys and girls, and welcome to the draft analysis for the draft of the League War of the GBA versus the NPA. You probably saw the whole Twitter thing going on. We are at war with the NPA. If you have no idea what a League War is, I think there will be a video up on the channel explaining that, but in case not, it's just very short. Basically, they have some coaches of us, some coaches of them. We will battle, most of them 2 times. And so we have a total of 19 battles, I think, or 17. I think 17. And whoever league has the more wins the war, and is proven, determined, no doubt about it, the better league than the other, and has won the war. So yeah, that's the whole thing about it. So I will have 2 matches, and yeah, we drafted. We all were in the same drafting group. We drafted all 8 Mon squad, 1 from each, like standard GBA draft. Barring 8 mons, of course, 1 from each tier, like tier 1 to tier 5, 1 mega, and then 2 free picks with, I think, 200 points. Yeah, that's how it worked. And yeah, that's basically how the whole draft went. I was rather in the middle. I think I was 1 step behind the exact middle pick, or since we might have been, no wait, we're an even number, so there's 2 middle picks, and I was the latter one of that. So yeah, I was pretty much in the middle, so no real wheel near me, neither at the back nor at the start. So yeah, my picks stand alone. I couldn't really pick pairs and stuff like that. But yeah, of course, with just 8-month draft and with just 2 matches, you draft a little bit different than other times because you don't have to worry about some stuff you would usually worry about. Like you still don't know the matchups once you draft, so it's not like you can counter draft the opponent. But for example, one example you will see in my team is my speed tiers. My speed tiers are, for a regular draft, bad, I would say, because there's a pretty huge gap. But since there's only 2 matches, there's a very high chance that the opponent with an only 8-month draft doesn't have the correct mons to capitalize on that. If it would be a whole season, like 12 matches plus, then there's a very likely chance that at some point in the season there's like 1 or 2 matches where the opponent can capitalize on that, and that would be a weakness someone can exploit. But with that, yeah, the likelihood is less likely. That's a good sentence. But yeah, that's just one example. Of course, that goes for a lot of things. You still want to cover a lot of the bases, but it's not as bad to not cover them in scenarios like this, where you only have like 1 or 2 matches. So yeah, that's just heads up. That's something different. And other than that, I just into this. I had a few mons I definitely want to try out. There's like a few mons. I always have some mons on the list which I want to draft next time, and this is a good chance to use them. So we'll see a lot of new mons, and then some mons which I used before, which just fit the team and basically cover the glue. You know the glue. You have some mons you definitely want, and then you pick the glue, which makes these picks work together. So yeah, so let's just hop in. My first pick was my tier 2 actually, and that was Zeraora. Zeraora was it's the newest mon released to date, and I definitely want to try it out. It looks very fun to use, very fast. It's the fastest non-mega. No, wait, I think Ninja is 150, so it's the fastest good non-mega to use. Makes capabilities can both physical and special attack. Has an insane move pool. Great moves overall. Elemental Punch, close combat, knockoff. You know the deal. Sadly, doesn't have U-turn though. That's a bit bad, bit annoying. That Coco has before that. Volt Absorb, of course, gives me electric immunity, and yeah, it's only tier 2. I thought for tier 2, that's definitely worth it. Tier 1, it's debatable if it's worth it or not. But if it would have been tier 2, I would have still drafted it because I just wanted to use it. And yeah, here we are. Now it's a lot of fun, just very fast, mixed, can go mixed, and yeah, setup on both sides, moves on both sides. The signature move Plasma Fist, of course, very strong base one. Basically, it's electric Earthquake, plus the additional effect that normal moves get turned to electric moves, which of course I can use a Volt Absorb. I don't think that thing will, like that part of Plasma Fist will come into play. Like I doubt anyone will use a normal attack with Zeraora when I can use Plasma Fist, especially in drafting format where like you know the opponent's team, stuff like that. But yeah, just a little add-on. It basically never hurts, so why not have that in addition to being like 100% accurate, 100 base power and stab and physical and all this good stuff. But yeah, that's Zeraora for you. The always good thing is with these fast mons, there's like the Talonflame effect, which I like to call it. I want to put a little C on that because I think I invented that, and I like that. I like the idea of that a lot. Basically, the Talonflame effect is that you don't have necessarily. Oh wait, no, the Talonflame effect wouldn't work here. Never mind me. Talonflame effect. Okay, while I'm explaining the Talonflame effect. Talonflame effect is that you have very fast recovery. In case of Talonflame last gen, of course, it has Scale Wings, so all Roost had priority. Same thing with Sableye, has priority recover because of Prankster. Same thing with Crobat, it's just being very fast overall and has fast Roost. That's because of that, even though these mons are not bulky at all, if you look at their stats, they are pretty mediocre, even bad bulk-wise. But just by having a fast recovery, or basically you're having the chance to recover before the opponent can hit you, they get a lot of bulk through that, and they basically don't die. And that's the Talonflame effect, where like fast mons get very bulky, very easily bulky through that. Zeraora, of course, doesn't have that because it has the recovery, so I don't know what I'm even talking about. It has Drain Punch, but that's it. But what I wanted to say with the speed, it's easy to have either plus attack or plus with attack nature, which helps it not that strong attack and special attacks like 1 or 2, 1 or 12. It's not like wow, it's 120 or 130. But if you put an element or modest nature on that, they can pack a punch, especially with life or something like that. Or you can invest a lot in bulk actually. Like if you don't need a lot of speed to outspeed the fast mon on the opponent's team, barring you want to outrun like Scarfers. But yeah, you can put a lot of HP and it gets rather bulky, and that's why it's naturally already through that, just having a good amount of HP and having both absorbs, it's naturally a good check to other electric types. But yeah, that's Zeraora. Talked enough about that. Next up, a mon which I won actually last season of the GBA already, but I got sniped. But this time I got it, and it's Mega Charizard X. I got the Mega very early. Usually I wait for that till the end. But that's another one, like Zeraora, Mega Charizard X, and another one later on down the line. Are the 3 mons I definitely want to draft in this. And yeah, here we are, Mega Charizard X. I love the bulky dragons with recovery, be it Kyurem Black, and of course they're strong. Like that's a big thing. Kyurem Black, Mega Charizard X, they're both huge threats to your opponent, very strong. Like 130 is not that impressive, but if you put Tough Claws on that, it's basically Life Up Boost. If you put Stab on Flare Blitz, if you put Sword Sense, Belly Drum, Dragon Dance on that, it's a huge threat to the opponent's team. And I love what I said, I love about them, is that they can be bulky as well. You can just put Roost on them, give them a little HP, give them a little Speed Def, give them a little defense, and they just don't die. And then you can still set up, just go for Flare Blitz, go for Dragon Claws, go for Thunder Punch, Earthquake. You know the deal with Mega Charizard X, and that's why I love it a lot about. It's a Mega Charizard X has the history in the GBA of never been used correctly. Like it's the curse of Mega Charizard X. Everyone thinks, oh, it's great. Everyone makes Dragon Dance set, and now it works because, of course, that's the most dangerous set to the opponent. It's what the opponent will definitely prepare for is the Dragon Dance variant, because boosting speed and attack is just way too good. That's why Dragon Dance is one of the best setup moves. And yeah, the opponent will of course prepare for that. So Dragon Dance, even though it's the quote-unquote the best set to sweep the opponent, it's not necessarily the best set to bring versus the opponent, because that's what everyone is scared of. If you look at Mega Charizard X, the first thing you're thinking, oh god, if this thing gets a Dragon Dance up, I lose the game. So you prepare something to deal with that, be it a Scarfer with like Stab Earthquake, or be it like something to which can take a hit with a battery, stuff like that. So sometimes a bulky Charizard X with just 3 attacks, or for example Sword Sense just to break a wall, or just 3 attacks Roost, might be the better variant to just break through your team, weaken the mons, don't necessarily sweep, but just be a good breaker and just don't die when you get toxic. So yeah, that's Mega Charizard X for you. That's why I picked it. It's a tier 1 Mega, that means I won't get any points from picking a lower tier Mega. But yeah, Mega Charizard X, here we go. Next up, I decided to get my fairy because it's round 3 and all the good fairies are gone, and I was thinking about getting Tapu Fini again, but on the other hand, there was Azumarill in tier 2, and I thought, why not? It's tier 2. Like I love Azumarill. I already used it before. I think rather decently. I want to say, like it wasn't insane, but it's a good mon overall. Water Fairy typing is great. I love all the Water Fairy types. Be it Azumarill, be it Tapu Fini, be it Primarina. I use all 3 of them. I love all of them. And yeah, they're a great mon to use. Bulky Water in addition to a Fairy, and of course a huge defense threat as well. Gives you some priority, which I didn't have yet. But to be fair, it's 3 picks, so there's a lot of covers a lot of bases I didn't cover yet. But yeah, it's a tier 2. That's what I thought was more worth it. Like Tapu Fini would have been a great pick as well because it gives me defog as well. But picking Azumarill now as another tier 2 offers me a lot of more possibilities of getting a tier 1 later down the line, because a lot of guys already picked their tier 1 because it's usually what you pick in like the first few rounds. So there's a lot of, I could basically choose my tier 1 and wait for that a long time, and yeah, be safe through that. But yeah, Azumarill, like I said, you know the variant. Now if I make it my Z-Captain, oh by the way, you can only make 1 mon your Z-Captain. This is a potential Z-Mon in addition to Zeraora. Zeraora, of course, just being through the sheer ability of having different moves, a great Z-Captain. Azumarill, on the other hand, has like 1 Z-set. That is the Belly Drum. And having the belly drum in addition to Mega Charizard does sound very charming, because there's like 2 huge offensive setup threats the opponent has to prepare for, and for one of them will work. Like you can't like let's say instead of a Charizard, I go to town, I kill a few mons, and then I die because the opponent had something like that. The next time I set up with something else like a Azumarill, the opponent won't have anything left. That's just it. Like Mega Charizard X and Azumarill are just such big threats once they set up, like be it a Belly Rub or Dragon Dance. The opponent can't deal with the pressure of both. If both things happen. Of course it's set up, so it has to happen first. So if he doesn't allow me to set up, that's a different story. But once I set up with Charizard, or set up with Azumarill, it's basically GG. I can't think of like barring a misplay hard, like a core which can deal with that very well, by bringing a full stall, really. But yeah, that's Azumarill for you. And yeah, like I said, it has, like, fun fact, it has a Sap Zipper Perish Trap set, of course, as well, which sometimes is nice, but most of the time it's of course going to be huge power. EV Bandit, Belly Drum, Assault Dash, a lot of good stats with Azumarill. Sadly, doesn't have reliable recovery, so it's a bulky water, but what it lacks in like what's called sustain. It gains in power, just being offensive threat as well, in addition to being a mon which can take it just through the base 100 HP and 80 defenses. Now yeah, next up, I already talked about getting my tier 1 later down the line, but I was looking at the other mons and there was one coach, like there's just one coach after me, which this next mon would fit to a T. I thought I can't allow this thing to get sniped. Like I look at this mon, after I picked this one as tier 2, I knew this was going to be my tier 1. And usually I would wait on that, but I couldn't allow it to get sniped, and that is of course Skarmory. You saw me Skarmory using ACBA, that's the only time I really use it in upload leagues, but I use Skarmory a lot in these tournament things, where it's only 8-mon drafts, because I love Skarmory in this kind of environment. Because for one, of course, Steel type will have recovery, which you don't get often. It gives you all the hazards, or spikes and staff rocks at least, and it gets a defog. And there are so many threats out there which are like just not a problem if you have a Skarmory. You think about like Mamoswine, for example, huge threat to close to every team. Skarmory, whatever, I have a Skarmory, what can Mamoswine do? You look at Excadrill, huge threat in the sand to a lot of teams, even with Mold Breaker too, if sand is not up. You have a Skarmory, who cares? There are a lot of ones like this which are usually like huge threats to a team, but with Skarmory, you just have the perfect check on that. And in addition to that, of course, great physical bulk. So in general, physical attackers are not doing that. It's finally some hazard removal I get, barring Defog Charizard, of course, which, yeah, seeing that it has to Mega Evolve first, and before Mega Evolve it's 4 times weak to Rock, not the best hazard remover. But like I mentioned, it gives me Stealth Rock and Spikes as well, which I was missing as well. And yeah, Skarmory is just great overall. You can run it more as a defensive variant, like with Roost, Sturdy, Defog, all these shenanigans. Or you can just put in the weak armor, Focus Sash thing, just straight hazard lead. You can go hyper offensive. And looking at my team so far, Zeraora, Azumarill, Mega Charizard X, I have both variants already. Both variants of Skarmory can do well in that kind of environment. Be it the hyper offensive, just hazard and die, or be it the more bulky variant, where I run a bulky Charizard as well, bulky Azumarill, stuff like that, where I just go, okay, I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna dish out some damage too, or just go hyper offensive, fuck it, who cares, and just set up some hazards, then set up the one setup threat, set up the next setup threat, and just go to town on the opponent. So yeah, that's why I like Skarmory a lot. In general, I like Skarmory, decent speed for defensive mon, especially defensive-wise, it's not that impressive, but usually what you can do is just put like a minimum amount of EVs in defense, and it still can take all the defensive hits, and then you can invest a lot in Spit F, and you can take the Spit F hits as well. So yeah, I like Skarmory a lot. You did saw me use it a lot in like upload leagues, but I think it's like the 5th or 6th time I drafted Skarmory. So yeah, I use the thing a lot, and I like it a lot. Next up, I decided to get my other hazard remover and to actually finish off my course, because like I already saw, I have now my Fairy Dragon Steel Core with Azumarill, Mega Charizard X, and Skarmory. Next up, I of course need still a grass type to finish off my Fire Water Grass core, and something that gives me hazard removal and gives me a grass type are of course the spinning ones, and I decided to go with Tsareena. Never drafted Tsareena before. I didn't go into this draft thinking I would draft Tsareena. It's not like a mon I really looked forward to drafting. It's a good mon. Like, I like Tsareena. I like defensive mon, like mons which can run defensive, which get U-turn as well, because you can just grab momentum on the switch out. But this girl, of course, Tsareena is a girl, can run offensive as well. 128 base attack set is very impressive. It's actually higher than Zeraora's. But yeah, the bulk is there as well. 98 defensive is close to the magic 100 number, which is very nice. And the 71 HP looks good. Greedy Majesty can be fun with like a Scarf Tsareena, ignoring like a priority. A lot of people sometimes like to forget that Greedy Majesty exists and they just go for a priority move and then boom. Like, it's kind of similar to when people forget the terrain is up and like try to go for like a status move and Misty Terrain or something like that. But yeah, Tsareena, cool gal, gives me Rapid Spin, so I don't only have defog, I can just set up hazards and Rapid Spin as well, so I don't get rid of my own spikes if I set them up with Skarmory, stuff like that. And yeah, both defense, both offensive it can be. Nice coverage, high jump kick, U-turn, Aromatherapy, blah blah blah. You know Tsareena. Like I said, Tsareena is there to. Yeah, it was like a necessity to pick at this point because I could have gone with Delmax as well. My preferred pick would have been the Scizor here, but the Scizor got sniped, so Tsareena was the next best one, at least the one I would try out. And I could afford because if you see like tier 2, tier 1 Mega, I already basically did go all out on the high tier 1 picks, so I have to go to like tier 3 and below for my next few ones. But yeah, that's Tsareena, basically just to fill the gap. It's not, I doubt it's gonna be a really shining offensive mon on my team, but yeah, it's gonna take some hits, gonna dish some hits out, it's gonna rapid spin a bit, gonna be synthesizing a bit, and yeah, that's Tsareena for you. Next up, I decided to go with another rocker because I don't want Skarmory. Like, if I want to bring double hazards, I need another rocker because I don't always want to run spikes and rocks and Skarmory. That already basically locks it in onto the more offensive, like hazard stack die roll. But sometimes you want rocks and spikes, but still be defensive. So I needed another rocker for sure in my draft, and another rocker. And something else I wanted is some fire resist, because another pick I wanted, like I said, the third pick I talked about which I wanted is Fire Weak as well. So if you look at my draft as well, currently I have 2 resistances. And with that, I would have 3 weaknesses to fire. And my 2 resistances, one is weak across the rock, the other one is Azumarill with outright recovery. So I would have another fire resist and a rocker. So there's not too much which fits that. It would be like a rock type. Or, of course, my boy Miltank. You already know Miltank. I like Miltank a lot. Tier 4 it is. They are very bulky in the low tier like that, because Miltank, reliable recovery. 3 great abilities. Thick Fat, of course, like I said, fire resist, ice resist, very nice. Sap Sipper, grass immunity. It's not like I really had a problem with grass, but it's just overall nice. Like, now I have Azumarill with Sap Sipper, I have Miltank with Sap Sipper. Basically, no one is picking grass with my team, which is great for a regular Azumarill. But Scrappy, of course, being nice for a more offensive Miltank, which most of the times is the setup variant. But I saw some people using like Scarf or Bandit Miltank if like the opponent doesn't have like a normal resist barring a ghost type. So that Scrappy Miltank can shine, even with like Facade in case he wants to burn it, because all ghosts get Will-O-Wisp. But yeah, very bulky, very speedish as well, base 100 speed, and yeah, I'm just a big fan of Miltank as a defensive mon, and even as a defensive setup mon with Curse. I love the Curse set of Miltank. I might see that in the battles, I don't know yet, I didn't build for them yet, but Curse Miltank has always special place in my heart, because it's in some matches I didn't bring it too often, but in the matches I brought it, it always put in the finest amount of work, because the opponent just don't see Miltank usually as a setup threat. But yeah, that is Miltank for you. Now going into the last 2 picks, I already knew that the mon I wanted, like the Fire Weak mon I'm talking about, no one can snipe that anymore at this point, so I knew I could get that. So I looked at the tier 5 mon I wanted to get, and that's where the speed thing comes into play, because currently I have like 2 base 100 mons, and then I have the huge jump to Zeraora in 143, I think. 142? 140 something. Either way, huge gap. Every mon with 110 can run a plus special attack or plus over 110 can run a plus attack or plus special attack nature and still be faster than my base 100s and still be slower than Zeraora. So that's like something people can capitalize on. So I was thinking about a lot in this tier 5 slot. Should I get the mon I like the most, because I think it's underrated in this tier, which I think could put a lot of work, or do I get him on just to fill that speed gap? And in the end, because I already talked about it at the beginning, so I already know what option I chose, and I chose to go with one I think, which dropped down actually from previous GBA tiers to this one, and it's Gallade. I like Gallade a lot. I used it one other time in Draft League, and I think at tier 5 it's very underrated. It's great attack stat, great special defense stat, it's a great assault as user for that, giving Drain Punch as well. And yeah, it was missing Psychic and Fighting type both. Steadfast, Justified. Steadfast a bit more situational, but Justified is great ability as well, because knockoff is such a prevalent thing. Just switch and get a +1 attack boost. You lose the item, yes, but +1 Gallade just rocks shop on the team. It gets some nice utility moves as well. It gets like Will-O-Wisp, it gets Wish, it gets some good coverage as well. Like Leaf Blade is the most prominent one, which people know about. But yeah, then it got the standard thing, which is the Psychic fighting Dark coverage, which is the core in itself as well, with knockoff, cross combat, and the headbutt. So that is great, and yeah, some nice priority in Shadow Sneak. So overall, I think Gallade, for a tier 5, I think he will put in a lot of work. Like if I compare Gallade to some tier 5s I drafted before in my career, I think Gallade will definitely put in a lot more work than in the other matches. Like in other matches, the tier 5 shows up to 1 or 2 matches, but this time, depending on the matchup, it might even show up to both and like outshine, I don't know, Miltank or Tsareena or something like that in the amount I bring it. But yeah, that's Gallade for you. And yeah, now going into the last one, I definitely want to go into the draft, which is Venomoth. I loved, once I saw that Venomoth gets Toxic Spikes, I fell in love. I wanted to use Venomoth so badly. I just want to use it. It's such a nice, underrated setup threat with Quiver Dance as well. With Tinted Lens, you don't need coverage. You have Bug Burst, Sludge Bomb, that's it. People like the resist. Tinted Lens is not a resist anymore. You basically only need coverage if you want to hit something for 4 times super effective damage. But other than that, Bug Burst and Sludge Bomb are the moves to go for. Then you have Quiver Dance, you can give this thing Black Sludge, it gets Toxic Spikes, gets Roost, gets Defog. I just think that Venomoth is a very, or like before, like going into this draft, I will of course find out while using it. But in theory, I think Venomoth was a very underrated mon in general. Decent speed, bad special attack set, bad defenses for sure. But Quiver Dance is such a scary setup moves. It's basically it's better than Dragon Dance for special attackers, obviously. But it's a great setup moves. And then once I saw it get Toxic Spikes as well, I just fell in love because you don't have to be the setup variant of Quiver Dance. You can be a defensive variant with like Toxic Spikes or something like that. You can even be a bulky variant, just set up Quiver Dances on special attackers because you boost the special attack while you edit special defense. I mean, of course. So you just boost that over and over on special attackers, and you can be a bulky one and you get stronger and stronger as it gets and can just sweep 34 on team. But yeah, that's why I want to Venomoth as well, because it's like huge setup threat in addition to just offering Toxic Spikes as well. I just want to use it. I like all these bug types. I wanted to use Yanmega at one point. I drafted it for a very short time. I definitely have to go back to using Yanmega again. And Venomoth was another bug boy I want to use, and here we are. Sadly, it's going to be 2 matches only as well, so yes, similar fate to Yanmega. But here we are, using Venomoth. Now, of course, last step we have to talk about Z-Mons. The obvious Z options are, of course, the Venomoth, because Z-Venomoth is the standard set on Smogon. Then the Azumarill, already for the Belly Drum, talked about that, or the Zeraora for just the Z anything, because it gets anything on both sides. Like the latest option too. The other option as well, but Z Skarmory, no. Z Miltank, no. Z Tsareena, Z Gallade, maybe, It's better than Tsareena, but worse than definitely the other 3. So the 3 big ones are Zeraora, Azumarill, or Venomoth. In the end, I decided to go with Azumarill, and that is for one simple mon. Azumarill gives me the least amount of options, which for one is in a only 2-match league or war, not a big of a problem, because the huge amount of options you have, they shine if you have a lot of matches with a lot of different opponents. But so I think because of that, it's not too bad that it's like the one-trick pony with Z. But the thing I want the most out of Azumarill, if I have a Z Azumarill, your opponent is gonna know that what that secret is for. It's gonna be for Z Belly Drum. And if you're the opponent and you look at my team with Z Belly Drum Azumarill, Dragon Dance Charizard X, Quiver Dance, Venomoth, what are you gonna do defensive wise? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What? Let me know, guys. What are you gonna do? It's 3 mons, which are their prime set, the most known set, is the setup variant. And it's a very scary and good setup variant. Everybody knows that. Dragon and Charizard, everybody hates that. Z-Belly Drum Azumarill, everybody hates it. Quiver Dance Venomoth, okay, not as big, but everybody knows what's the Venomoth. Oh yeah, that's a Quiver Dance. What else will Venomoth do? So we have 3 setup ones. And I love to force the opponent into like that mindset that I'm gonna sweep them with one of the 3. Because that limits their team building a lot. They have to, like, even if I don't bring them, they just have to perfect them, because otherwise, like, let's say they don't have a check to Z-Belly Drum Azumarill. If I bring them, they just lose to it. Same with Dragon Dance Charizard, same with Quiver Dance Venomoth. They just have to bring them. Where I, on the other hand, I don't have to bring them. I can just, like I said, 3 attacks Charizard, Choice Band Azumarill, and then Quiver Dance Venomoth. Yeah, I bring that. Or like Toxic Spike Venomoth, Assault Dance Azumarill, and yeah, Dragon Dance Charizard. But the other 2 checks, I just deal them in other scenarios. So yeah, I just love love the idea of, like, because if the world didn't have the Z Crystal, Belly Drum option would be there, but it's not like it's like screaming in your face. I'm a Z-Mon, I have the Belly Drum, look at me, I'm a big threat. Now with the Z Crystal, that exactly happens. So might not even bring, it's only 2 matches, who knows, depends on the matchup. I might not even bring the Belly Drum Azumarill, but just because of those mind games, I love the idea of having the Azumarill. We will see if it works out or not, but yeah, that's basically the whole draft, that's the whole analysis. Let me know in the comments what you think about the team. I guess other people will probably upload them as well, so you can see and compare. But yeah, that's it. It's very excited to use Zeraora, Charizard X, and Venomoth. These are the 3 big ones I want to use. They probably will come to all matches because it's only 2, and these are the ones I want to use. And then you have like 3 out of the other 5 to come to each match. But yeah, that's all for me. Obviously now time. I hope you're excited for the matches, and yeah, ciao.